Hello everyone. In this video, I will go over my solution to the problem named path queries. This problem is taken from a Codeforces Div 3 contest and is rated 1800. In this problem, we need to use the disjoint set union data structure to answer some queries in an offline mode. We are basically given a tree which is weighted and has n nodes, and we are basically given the edges of the tree which are n minus 1 and n minus 1 edges. And so we are given m queries q1 through qm, where qi denotes a weight of an edge. And what you need to do for each query is you need to find the number of pairs of vertices u comma v such that the maximum weight of an edge on a simple path between u and v doesn't exceed q of I. And just a reminder, when they say the path between u and v, they actually mean that every edge from u to v should have a weight which is less than or equal to qi, and that gives you a hint that u and v should be in the same connected component if you consider only those edges which have a weight less than or equal to qi. So if you create a new graph where every edge in that graph has a weight less than or equal to qi, in that case, in that new graph, you need to have u and v being in the same connected component. And that's the key idea which we'll use to answer each of the queries. So let's sort the edges and the queries by their weights and answer the queries in increasing order of the weights, because if you analyze the query I plus 1, you know that the weight, or if you consider q of I to be the edge weight of the ith query and q of I plus 1 to be the value for the I plus 1th query, then we know that q of I is less than q of I plus 1. This means that the graph of nodes where each edge is less than or equal to qi plus 1 is the same as the graph where each edge is less than or equal to qi plus some extra edges. So recapturing that, every edge for the current query, so the current query will include every edge from the previous queries because these are happening in increasing order of the weights, plus some more edges, and those extra edges will be basically those edges which have a weight greater than the previous query's weight and have a weight less than or equal to the current query's weight. And that basically means that we can use the disjoint set union data structure to keep track of the connected components for each query, and just recapturing the fact that the graph which we are forming will have each edge less than or equal to the weight of the current query. And that means that when we are answering the query, we are basically finding the number of pairs of nodes in the same connected component. And if you know the basics of combinatorics, then you'll realize that this is just equal to the sum of the sizes of each connected component. Let's say that this is a connected component with 5 nodes. Let's say that this is the third query. So each edge has a weight less than or equal to the query. And let's say that we have a second connected component in which these are the nodes. Then the answer will just be equal to 5 choose 2 plus 3 choose 2, because the pairs of nodes can be taken for each connected component, and there are n choose 2 pairs of nodes for a connected component with size n. And that's the idea behind the whole solution. But what we have to change in our DSU code from above is the merge function, because the leader function will remain the same. The merge function will basically update the previous answer in the following way. So the previous answer will basically be adding the new size of the connected component. So let's say that the new connected component which is formed by uniting I and j has a size of I plus j. Then we know that size of I plus size of j by choose 2 will give you the number of pairs of nodes in that connected component will basically be size of I plus size of j by 2, choose 2. However, we are overcounting some things. More specifically, we are overcounting the nodes in i's component. So let's say that i's component had the nodes 1, 2 and 3, and let's say that j's component had the nodes 4 and 5. Then what we are basically doing is the size of the connected component will basically be 4 is the size, and over here the size is 3. So the new answer will be 7 choose 2. But we are overcounting the cases which are already counted, which are basically 4 choose 2, and over here the answer is 3 choose 2. So we are overcounting the cases in which the pairs of nodes are in the same connected component as I, and the cases in which the pair of nodes are in the same connected component as of j. And this is how the answer would change every time we add an edge from I to j. So now I'll be coding the idea for this solution to make some of the ideas more clear. So first we'll have a structure DSU, which is the whole DSU, the joint set unit data structure. So as discussed, we would have the vectors leader and size, and they are of size n. So we'll have another attribute n, which we'll basically take into account in our constructor. So the constructor will basically take in n and will basically assign the leaders and the sizes. So for each I from 1 to n, the leader of I is I itself, and the size of I is 1 initially, because there's only one node in the I connected component. And let's have the function merge and find. So remember that merge is void and find is returning something, which is the leader of the I connected component, leader of the connected component which has node A. So as discussed, if leader of A is A, we return A. Otherwise, we return leader of A is find leader of the leader of A. And that basically is an optimization which is needed to get the AC in this problem and in all DSU problems. So this is actually a technique called path compression, but in most cases you can take this as a black box, which basically is needed to get a solution which works in the time limit for all DSU problems. And first we'll basically set A to be the leader of A in the merge function and B to be the leader of B. And now we'll basically update the size of A to increase by the size of B. This is following the option 1, which is setting the leader of B to A and increasing the size of A by the size of B. We also need to keep track of the global variable answer. The answer will basically be increased by size of A choose 2, which is basically size of A into size of A minus 1 by 2, and it's going to basically decrease by the previous size of A. So let's keep a variable previous size A to be size of A. So the answer will decrease by previous size of A, choose 2, and minus further the size of B, choose 2, and this basically is another way to write the same code which I described over here. You could write it in either of the ways. I first updated the size, that's why I needed to keep track of the previous size. But both ways will correctly update the answer. And also there may be a special case when A is equal to B. In that case, we'll basically return because A and B are in the same connected component. And also, since the values can be n square, which is 4 into 10 to the 10 at most, we need to keep all the sizes and the answers in long. So let's just update those values over here. And now let's go to the main function. We have completed the DSU data structure code. So the main function, first we need to read in the values of n and m, which are basically the number of nodes and the number of queries. Now, since we are answering the queries offline and we are also adding the edges offline, let's keep track of those vectors which store the edges and the queries. So first they have given us the edges, which are of the form UVW. And remember that the edges will be stored in with 3 parameters, which are basically the edge of I will basically be U, V, and W. So edge of I of 0 will be U, the endpoint of the ith edge will be V, and the weight of the ith edge will be W. So edge of I stores first endpoint, then second endpoint of the edge, and the weight of the edge in this form. And remember that we need to sort the edges by the third parameter, which is the weight of the edges. That's why we can use a comparator, which will basically sort the edges, let's say edge 1 and edge 2, by the last parameter, which is the weight of the ith edge. So that's how we would sort the edges. Then we'll basically need to read in the queries. So the queries will actually be also needing 2 parameters. Remember that when we are answering queries offline, we need to answer the queries in the correct order after we are sorting the queries. So for that, we need to store the index of each query. So the query of I of 0 will store the weight of the ith query, which we'll read in, and queries of I of 1 will store the index of the ith query. So just to recap this, queries of I stores weight of the ith query, weight of the edge of the ith query, and the index of the ith query. The index is there to be able to answer the queries in the correct order at the end. And now that we have taken care of the input of the queries, let's sort the queries. And in this case, the queries will automatically be sorted in increasing order of the first parameter, which is the weight of the ith query. And now let's answer the queries in an offline manner. So when we are answering the queries, we know that queries of I minus 1 of 0 will be less than queries of I of 0. And this means we add edges which have a weight less than or equal to queries of I of 1 of I of 0, which is the weight of the ith query. And for that, we need to keep track of the index. So index of, or let's just name it pause. Pause is 0. So pause stores the index of the last added edge from the edge list. And the reason why we keep track of pause is because what we are essentially going to do is, for each pause less than n minus 1, if the edge at that position has a weight, so edge of I of 2 stores the weight, has a weight less than or equal to queries of I of 0, we'll basically add edge from the two elements, from the two endpoints. So basically edge of pause of 0, edge of pause of 1, and otherwise we'll basically break because the edges are sorted in increasing order, and we know that any other edge after pause which has a weight will have a weight greater than queries of I of 0, and that won't be in the graph which we are creating. So that's why we need to break immediately, and we need to keep track of pause less than n minus 1 because it could be the case that all the edges come inside our graph, and in that case we don't want pause to go outside the size of the edge list. So that's how we implement the part in which we are adding the edges. So let's write the function add edge. Add edge will essentially call the DSU uh, up here. So for that we need to create an instance of DSU. So DSU, let's call it data structure, or DS, will be called on the parameter n. So this is basically going to call the function to initialize the DSU variables, and then we'll basically replace the add edge with, so add edge is essentially going to do the following. It's going to call merge on edge of pause of 0 and edge of pause of 1, because this is what adding an edge means, merging the connected components at the two endpoints of this edge. And once we do that, we know that the answer for this query, so the answer for this query will basically be equal to answer. So we need an out array which stores the answers. So the out array will basically be of size m, and which will store the answers for each query, and the out array is what we are going to print in the end. So the out array will contain all the answers in the right order, and since we need the answers in the right order, we need to make sure that out of the position of the query, so remember that queries of I of 1 stores the index of the ith query, and that's why we need to set the answer of the ith query, which is queries of I of 1, to be equal to answer. So that's why this line is important. And once we calculate and pre-process and once we basically compute the values of the out array, we'll print them with a space. So let's just check that this function or this code works on the sample test cases. The code worked on the first sample test case. Let's try on the other two. So as you can see, the code gives the correct output in the second and third sample test case also. So let's just try submitting this code to see if it gets accepted. So as you can see, my code got accepted, and I hope you like the solution to this problem. Returning back to the learning targets from the beginning of this video, we realized that we understood how and the what the disjoint set union data structure is, and how we could use the disjoint set union data structure in the code to implement finding the answers for queries offline. If you want to know how to solve the same problem in an online mode, in which we have to answer the ith query before we answer the I plus one query, you'll actually need a more complicated data structure than the disjoint set union data structure. And the name of that data structure is called edge decomposition tree. So you can Google that data structure and find out more about it. But that data structure is really hard and much more overkill for this problem, because it is similar to centroid decomposition. It's an extension of centroid decomposition, and it works on problems in which we need to use edge weights in a tree. So that's all for this video. If you like the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and do consider subscribing to my channel for more such content. Thank you.